All right, welcome back. So I just use my phone instead of the daggum camera. Probably could do all these videos with my phone now. It's probably better than that old daggum handheld I have anyways. But anyways, back to the 3 meter, I guess a 3 meter Skymaster Viper Jet. They call it Viper Jet XXL. And it lives up to that. It's just massive. I just don't remember being that big, but then again, I'm inside, so everything looks bigger when you're inside, So back to it. I was kind of talking about this intersection already. There's the elevators. They have a wire hinge, going through it. So you can pull the wire out and the surface will come off. It's like that on the rudder. It's like that on the elevators, obviously. And I don't know if the flap or the ailerons, these are actual ailerons. I don't know if they've got a pin in them or not. Yes, they are also a wire. So you pull the wire out, they'll come out. The flaps are not. The flaps are, you can kind of see, these are the flaps. Got the massive, but they're hinged kind of like the, seems like all the, what do you call them, the BA Hawks are this way. So the hole there is your pivot point. And you just kind of pull. If you look on the bottom of the wings, they have the same exact carbon pieces on the back, on the bottom of the wings. So, here we go. And then the wingtips, you don't have to put them on there, but I do. They look good. So the wingtips, those are the bottom two fins, the winch or the airflow straighteners as they call them, but they're just fins. It's a 3-piece fuselage, 3-piece wing. Those are the two outer parts of the wing, center section. Tail section, which is removable, would just release, loosen those screws. There's top, one on each side and one on the bottom, so there's four screws. You loosen them and then it slides right off. It's got carbon pegs that hold it on. And then the front section is 4 screws, 4 bolts to hold it on. You got a hatch, which I like, so you won't ever really have to take the canopy off. It does have the ability to come off. It has 2 wires you can kind of see that run right through there all the way to the back, these really long wires, and you would pull them out here and the canopy comes off. It gives you access to that big area there where your turbine's going to be. So it might be kind of a good idea during your start to have the pins kind of pulled out, so if you do need to, you get a hot start or something, you need to hit it with, a fire extinguisher or something, you can do that, but that's just a personal preference. They give you a hat. I don't ever use them just because I look stupid in hats. Canopy there. I'm probably going to remove that front beam. I know the Fabao 2.5 meter had that, and I think my Skymaster did too, but I trimmed it off because you've got these little pegs here holding, it from, moving like this, and then the wire comes out right here, right here, and runs all the way through into the back. I don't think there would be any issue because, it's not like there's a pin here that you could pull out and then a canopy come off. It's a solid rod all the way through. So, and then it's got a little pin up here at top that holds it in place. I am going to put a little bit more high sol on the canopy. I'm a little worried. Hopefully that canopy doesn't blow out. I see a lot of them that are just painted. I don't know if that's just because they don't want to use the cockpits or what, but it seems like I remember the canopy failing on it. One of the early ons. So I'm gonna make sure I got plenty of glue in there to hold that, and I'll paint all that black because you can kind of see that off-white high sol in there. Typical Skymaster canopies. This is one of the kind of the bads and uglies. I have no uglies on this jet so far because I typically do a good, the bad, and the ugly with my builds. There's no ugly on this one so far. No, I'm not seeing like excess glue. I'm not seeing bad paint jobs. They have some, a lot of swirl marks in the clear coat in this area right here, like it was laying on something to rub, but I can use a little bit of wax, just buff that and it'll come, be fine. But the only ding so far, and like I said, I won't know more until I dig into it and start building, is those cockpits. And it's not the orange or brown, whatever you want to call that, that's the problem, because those look like they're actually wood, and they kind of interlock, you know, like they're laser cut, you know. So I kind of like that, you know. The instrument panels are not cuts proper, like this side's, it's like it's thicker here versus here, so the cut's at an angle, so whoever does their canopies ought to be fired, just plain and simple. Those things weigh a ton, so I will pull them apart and get rid of, you know, most of the weight just by redoing them, because they're super heavy and it doesn't need to be, you know. And this is the problem in this particular kit, is this black stuff. It's, you know, and you can already see it, it's broke. They shoved it in the tail section, and it's all broke. They're gonna give me another one, so it's not a big deal. But these canopies are very flimsy, and I don't mind that. I like saving. You know, it just seems to me to make something like this extremely heavy, kind of wasted weight. You know, I don't like that. As light as I can make it, so I don't mind it being flimsy. Just package it a little bit better so it doesn't move around and destroy. And you have to be really careful, because these things in the sun will not hold up. So I don't typically put my jets out in the sun at all for that reason. This thing, because I typically share tents with people, you know, I may have to do that, but if I do, I will get one of the plane covers that I've seen people, you know, that you can buy. Because these things will turn to silly putty and just, but they're very brittle. So if you can, which is nice, because I won't have to take them in and out like I did that one on the 2.5 meter. These will stay in unless I'm just doing some major maintenance. So it'd be less of a chance that they can get broke. But yes, that black part is horrible. Their cockpits are just notoriously bad. Those things, I'm gonna weigh them, because that's probably a pound. I'm not kidding. They are that heavy. You know, and this buckets weigh nothing, but those just are crazy. And no, that's not the size of the Minion. That's the size of the Minions that I used in the 2.5. This one's gonna need one about that tall, so about a 12-inch Minion, which I got a bead on, so I'll find some. Kevin and Carl got to upsize. So anyways, back to what's in the kit. You can see the rods right there. Those are the long canopy rods. I did get 2 pipes. I got the smaller motor and the larger, because I just don't know. I'm probably going to put when Zycoid comes out with a 225, I'm going to put the 225 in there. If I like it, I'll go with it. If it needs more, then I will look into like a 300, but I don't think it's going to need it. But I got it just in case. So those are the 2 pipes, massive pipes. Inner wall is super thick and beefy. Those are pretty heavy pipes. So moving on. So here's speaking of pipes, there's the 2 and you can see the difference in the bell mouths. I can't talk, bell mouths, between the 2 pipes. There's the aft, you know, kind of holder for the 2. There are your wing tubes for your main. The big tubes, there's 2 of them are for the mains. And then you got some there for the elevators. The rudder doesn't need one, because they're built in. So that's just for the stab, the horizontal, and the wings. Fuel tanks, 2 giant fuel tanks. This is the tank I was talking about using, because I have 2 of these. I'm probably going to use this one in the F-22, and I might use that one in here, depending on how much fuel I can get with the motor. Because I try to get, you know, hold about enough fuel for 8 minutes, and then some reserve, like 20%. So 8 minutes plus 20%. So we'll see. But this is them, typical Kevlar tanks, nothing crazy there. It's got, let me move this out of the way. Comes with 3 equipment trays. I got to figure out where they go. I think this is the nose. This one goes over the wheel. This, I don't know, I probably won't use it because it's got like this weird cutouts for things, and I'm sure it's designed for the way they do things, and for, you know, like, you know, I don't know, King Tech power box, and you know, or a power box, you know, I don't know, or that crazy UAT that you see made sometimes that kind of looks like an egg kind of thing. I don't know, but these are the lens covers for your wings. Very beefy and heavy. Of course, you're only going to use about that much of it. There's 2 of them in here. You cut them out, which is nice. I made my last ones, which is nice. You get those. Their typical hardware package. I'm not going to beat them up here. For this size jet, this equipment is useless. I mean, that's not big enough of you know, items to give you proper flow and keep your pressures down on a turbine that's gonna, the size of a motor that you're gonna run in here. This is, to me, like 160 max. Hell, I wouldn't even use this on 120s, honestly. But that's just me. I kind of overdo that a little bit. So this stuff needs to be high flow. So use it, don't use it, that's up to you. I will not use it. Here's all your screws and bolts. They typically give you a ton, and I don't know why they do that, because you don't use most of it. It's just like they just like, oh, there's a bunch of screws, let's throw them in there. You know, I know the wing bolts and stuff will be used, but there's always a ton of extra screws that you don't ever use with these. These are kind of like the BVM ones, if I remember. That's who makes them. These are pretty cool. I mean, I just don't use plastic. It just gets brittle over time, you know, and I've had them break right here. They're little fill valves. Use them, don't use them, nothing wrong with it. I don't ever use their air kit. Especially these things are horrible. They break. I can't even usually can't get the airline on them without them breaking, the plastic ones. This looks like a one-way valve for like a brake valve. I'm sure there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just going to use a, you know, because I'm a dealer for Jetronics and Zykoy, so I'm just going to use either one of those kind of valves. I do like the fact that they put PSI air gauges in them now. They used to just do their, whatever the European equivalent was. Nope. Oh, here's one. MPa. So so there's one PSI and one of the MPa. You know, I'm not very well traveled. I guess I don't know what that means. Airline. There again, I don't use their airline. It's just too stiff, and it always breaks. That being said, whatever they used on the nose gear, I like that. I mean, it's thicker, it's rubbery, so it's not gonna harden. It reminds me more of what I use, but that's not what they give you in the kit. So if they could just use that for everything, take note, Skymaster. Use whatever this is for everything, you'd be good. I'll probably just replace and use my own airline, no big deal. Typical strut service kit. A lot of guys don't know how to use that. A bunch of air cylinders. There's 5 little ones. I will probably, I may just go ahead and use them, because I've got 4 of that size from the Harlock, or not the Harlock, the 2.5 meter that I could use if I don't need enough air. But if I usually weigh things, and if I can get less weight out of one big one versus 3 or 4, I may do that, because this one really only needs air for your, you know, really just needs 2 systems. I always like to isolate the brakes from my gear. So gear and gear doors. So I'll do 1 big tank, you know, maybe 2 for the gear and gear doors, and then one or 2 of those for, you know, the brakes. And after another, well, I'm keeping them below 15 minutes because I'm approaching 15 minutes. What am I missing? Oh yeah, I was gonna say this. I typically don't do like they do. They just put these into the Kevlar. That's just a surefire way to cause cracks over time and leaks. So I usually get a bung, you know, like the little rubber stopper, and I'll get the aluminum piece, if anything, and glue the aluminum piece in that these sit in. If I use something like this, but most of the time now, I just get the It's not out here. I use BVM high flow stuff and glue their fittings in. So it makes it easier to, check the clunk line if you need be. And this jet, I think, definitely warrants a true high flow system. Servos will be typical S-bus servos. The 500 ounces for everything. I mean, I wouldn't use anything because it's a big jet. Even though I'm not going to be doing crazy 3D stuff, it's just a big jet. And so I'll be doing S-bus with my typical Incotech power system. Like I said, initially I'm going to try 225 unless that gets delayed for release for a while. Because I'm going to be waiting on a motor, because I can build this thing in no time, and I'll just be waiting on whatever kind of motor I'm going to put. I might look into something for temporary options just to get me flying until, get the Zykoi 225 in it and see how that goes. I don't think it would be too bad, considering how small and light they usually, the Zykoi motors are and efficient. So, all right. So, 16 minutes. I got to call it. That's it for now. I'm going to go inside and chill out. It's New Year's weekend. I'm going to do some builds, maybe do some servos on this tomorrow, get the wings going, and then, I need to put this thing all together and make sure everything's there and that nothing's missed. I did have one little damage spot, but it wasn't the shipping this time. It was actually that cockpit. They stuck the cockpit bucket in the tail and didn't properly wrap it and keep it from moving. And those two corners actually punched a hole, 2 holes on the bottom of the aft section. Easy fix, not a huge deal. I mean, yeah, it sucks. It's brand new jet. And it was actually a reasonable jet price. It wasn't that bad for its size. I was actually pretty shocked. But, and the good thing is it's between the 2 fins. So it's on the bottom between the 2 fins. So you'll never see it. So I'm going to do a quick little repair on it. It was in a real thin area anyways. So I'm like, man, maybe I should put some extra beef that area up a little bit anyways, because it does hold the fins in that area. So, but that's the only, knock on wood, that was the only damage that I had. And I don't think that was from the shipping. Yeah, it was probably from them moving the boxes and, dropping the boxes around here and there that caused it to punch through. But when you stuff stuff in there like that, you need to wrap it properly. You can see how the corners are just broken, destroyed from it. So, anyways, positive experiences, man. It's a new year. Got to be positive, right? This was a excellent experience so far. I love the jet. I love the Viper jet. I love the look of it. I love the color scheme of it. They did a great job on the paint, just like the T1 guys. They did a great job on my scheme. Everybody loves the scheme. Everybody wants my scheme. I say it's my scheme. I sent them the pictures for this. I know people had it before me, but not this particular one. So it's my scheme. But anyways, here we are, 18 minutes. I'm still running my mouth. Yeah, but so far it's been a positive experience on both these. I highly recommend, if you want a T1 or something like that, Dirk's your man. Easy to deal with. No bullshit kind of a thing. So is Doug. Been a great experience so far working with him. And I got another one coming. I kind of had a moment this summer, like I said, and went full retard and spent a lot of money. So I shouldn't say that. That's kind of not a good word today, this day and age. I went full stupid and yeah. Anyways, you guys have a good night. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. And if I don't see you, have a happy new year. Don't get too drunk. Later.